Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be making a really fun baby gift bag shaped like a onesie, and I hope you'll stay tuned. So a long time ago, I made a card shaped like a onesie, you know, baby's onesie, and this was the template I made for it. I want to make a gift bag that will be big enough, hopefully, to house the things I'm getting for our niece and nephew for their upcoming baby. And so I thought I would use this as my reminder of what I made it out of. And I'm using 12 by 12 paper, and I'm going to use some really high-tech things to make sure I kind of know what I'm doing. In this case, for the neck, I wanted to have something that was a reasonably good size, and it still might be bigger than this. So I'm going to see if I'm close to being a little bit accurate here on size-wise. Let's see if this is still about... Okay. This is about 3.5 inches from both sides, and I'm just going to trace it. It's just a roll of tear tape. Ooh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. And basically, it's just for the general outline. I don't know if that's big enough though. I might have to upgrade to a plate. I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make myself a line that's about that much bigger, and then I'm just going to cut around it. So what I'll do is I'll just take my same little tape, and I'm going to trace that side, and then I'm going to trace, pull it closer to me so I can get this kind of where I want it. And then I'm going to trace that side, and that should be close. Then I'll just put this here so you can see, hopefully you can see what it looks like. Then I'm going to be making my sleeves about, let's see, let's go 3 inches. I'll make a mark. I'm struggling with this today for some reason. And a mark 3 inches on that side. And then I'm going to draw, I'm going to go in, let's say 2 inches. 2 inches. I'm going to go from, you might not be able to see the bottom edge, but I'm going to go from the 2-inch line all the way down to the bottom corner. We're close enough to the bottom corner. Nope. I need to go all the way to the bottom corner because I definitely want the length. I want it to be all the way down to the bottom corner. Then we're going to go over here, and we're going to do the same thing. From our 2-inch mark to the bottom right corner. You'll see this once I am able to cut it out for you. Then we need to have a little spot in the center. That's going to be where we're going to have our, we'll call it crotch. Sorry, couldn't think of a different word for it. It's going to go from here to there, from 5 inches to 7 inches. And then we're going to go back to our trusty ball of Oh, no wonder I'm having problems. I've got a mirror under there. Ugh, these are the things. I'm just going to keep moving it around. Not far enough. I should just freehand that, shouldn't I? Okay, close enough. All we're wanting to do here is make sure that our bag is in the shape of what clothes, you know, a onesie would be shaped like. So I'm just going to do this. And that. Keep in mind, nobody's going to see most of these marks because they're all going to be ones that I've chopped out. I just want to make sure that I can make this bag work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out 2 of these, the exact same pattern, twice, because you need a front and a back to your bag. I probably could do this with my paper trimmer and it would be a lot simpler, but we're going to go with no paper trimmer. We're going to just freewheel it. The scissors I'm using are Fisker's Easy Action scissors. I like them, but I've never used them as my primary scissors, even though they're supposed to be great for arthritis. I don't know why I don't love them. There's a reason, I just haven't figured out why I don't love them. I just don't. And don't forget, I'm going to be eliminating all of these lines. If I didn't cut them out, I'll just erase them. This is the world's biggest onesie. Our eraser. Just kind of get rid of all of the little leftover marks. So that is the basic shape of our onesie. It looks like a onesie, right? Kind of. All right. So I cut out both, well, actually I cut out all the pieces for the bag, and then I decided it would be easier to put all of my images into the MISTI to stamp, because I want to do all of these little zoo creatures, and this is from an old Recollections Zoolicious. I don't know if you can see those animals, but you'll see them better in a second. And I'm just going to use some Gina K amalgam ink. If you hear the dogs barking, it's because we feed deer, and we don't like the deer to starve, and our dogs, we thought, would be smart enough not to bark at them every day throughout the winter, but unfortunately they bark every night when the deer come, all night long, and they don't stop. So at this point I cut out, as you know, and decorated the front and the back of my bag, we're calling it. It is a bag, but it isn't yet. And what I decided was, as just regular paper, it was a little bit flimsy. So I took some masking tape and I went around the whole the whole outside, I guess, of the back of both pieces. And then I decided that wasn't sturdy enough. So then I went over that with Scotch tape so that my edges are really, really tight. Not tight. Strong, let's say. Let's hope they're strong. And then I came up with the dimensions that I need for the for the sides and the bottom of the bag. I wanted to make sure that basically the bottom of the bag is going to be right there, not all the way to the bottom, because it's almost impossible to make the bottom work like, you know, with that part. So I measured right across from, I'll do it upside down so you can see it and I can see it. I measured right across from this section, right above where the, you know, where the leg holes would be. And it's 11.5 inches. I'm hoping this is 11.5 inches because it's been a half a day since I did this. This is 11.5 inches by 6 inches. Then I'm going to do some scoring, but I want to tell you about the sides too. So then I measured the sides, and the sides are only going to be the sides are only going to be, well, I think I made them 8 inches, not 9 inches. Oh, I know why. Again, I only wanted to go to where this cutoff was right there. So it's 8 inches. So my sides are 8 inches by 6 inches. It'll make sense at some point. So I'm going to score the bottom at 1/2 inch. And at 5.5 inches. And then my sides, oh, that was on the 6-inch length, if I didn't say that, and I don't think I did. Again, that was the bottom. Then the sides, again on the 6-inch length. Is that right? Yes, on the 6-inch length. I'm going to score those at 1/2 inch and 5.5. Ooh. Jeez, jumped right out of the track. Why wouldn't it? Same on the other one, 1/2 inch and 5.5. Ooh, geez, I don't know what I'm doing here. Just jumping all over the place. Then I'm going to score them also at 3 inches so that the bag can kind of bend easier. That's just the sides. Again, 3 inches on the 6-inch length. I might not need to have that score, but better safe than sorry. And if you're wondering where I got this idea, it's strictly from that card I made. And I think I linked that, or I'm going to link that video at the beginning so that you know, so you have a clue about how I did what I did. Then let's do some folding. I want, this paper has a pattern, or not a pattern, a texture on one side. I don't love that texture. I'm just saying, I don't love it. So I'm gonna just use that. That's gonna be on the inside of my bag. And I'm gonna make this just a little bit bendy. And this paper really cracks a lot too, so in case you, I don't know where I got this paper, to be honest with you. I think it came from Michael's. All the papers I seem to get that crack were from a Michael's pack. Those ones that are in their dollar spot or hot spot or whatever they call that spot where they have things that are a big bargain. Don't buy it. If it's a big bargain there, don't buy it. Okay, then I'm going to put tear tape on those up to, but not onto, that score line on both sides. So I'll have enough, this is a little bit under 1/4 inch score, not score, tear tape. I'm just making up names as I go now. I just want to make sure that it's, that I have enough of this, that I'll hold, this bag will be held together pretty securely, because this is the only thing that's going to hold the bag together is tear tape and a little bit of wet glue. When you make bags, you really want to make sure that these folds are really nice and burnished or folded down as well as they can be, because it's going to make it putting the bag together so much easier for you. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to do, and that was I need to make a tab. That's what we're going to call it. And this is not, you're not going to really see it. These are going to be 5 inches by 1 inch. And on the 1 inch side, you're going to score them at 1/2 inch, because you want them to be able to fold in half. So I just, why can't I figure out where the 1/2 inch is? Right there. Seems bigger than a half. I don't even know. These little flaps aren't going to be something that I think anybody's going to see unless they really look at the bottom of your bag. But what the point of this is that you're going to be able to, this is going to make sure that the bottom of the, this is our, that's not our bottom, this is our bottom. We want to make sure that our bottom stays attached to the side of the bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little tabs right here. You want to make sure that when you have these little tabs that they're not really tight up to the side of your bag. So I'm going to just do a little snip like this. And it's just going to give you a little bit of, it's like when you have a picture frame and you make sure that it's got a little bit of room so that it doesn't get stuck. You know, there's not too much paper there. It makes it so it's not as bulky, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oh, I also want to take a little snip out of the edges of my bottom so that, same thing. So I just get rid of a little bit of that bulk. Not a lot. You're just going to take a little bit off of the end. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is attach these little flaps. Is that what I call them? Tabs, flaps. We're going to call it a few different things. Before I actually put the bag together, I want to finish doing my decorating, because I think it would make sense if now's the time I put the ribbons through the top and decorate the top. Because if I don't know if I'll be able to do that using the eyelets. You know, putting the eyelets in after the fact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 pieces, and I have these little teeny tiny clips. I'm just going to line them up so that both of them are the exact same. You know, they're in the whatever. You know what I mean. I want to make sure that they're completely even. And I wanted to decide where I want my holes for my handles. So let's see how far. I guess we're going to go 3/4 of an inch down. Right there. So that's 1 inch from the top and about 3/4 of an inch down. So mine's going to be 3/4 of an inch down from the top and 1 inch from this point over. Then I have some brads. Not brads. I made that up. I have some eyelets. And I have my Big Bite. I love this thing because I had one of those, just a crocodile that wasn't a Big Bite. And I could never, and I mean never, get the holes to punch because I could never hold it and do everything you have to do at the same time. And so that was a problem. And if you don't have one of these, it's really cool. Right here is where it punches. And it either punches, I think it's 3/16 or 1/8 of an inch hole. And I need a 3/16 because if you see my eyelet, It's pretty big. Hopefully you can see how big that is. So I want to use the bigger hole. And I'm going to put both of them in. As I said, I'm going to have both of them in here at the same time. And you want to just make sure that you have your hole under where that punchy thing is. There, I said a really, big word there, punchy thing. And I punched them at the same time so that they would both be in the exact same spot. We're rolling now. Okay. When you want to place your eyelet, you can't have everything put together like I did. You want to take them apart. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your eyelet into your paper, and then you're going to make your setting so that, see this little piece, this thing that, it's like a pin that comes down? You're going to need that because that's what's going to hold it in place to crunch it. And then you push this little black piece all the way to the front so that it activates that part of the machine. If I haven't confused you enough, I'm sure there are a lot of different videos on how to use a big bite and a crocodile. Clearly, they would be a lot better than mine. Okay. I'm sure you saw how high-tech that was when I did it. See how nice that looks, though? And even on the back, it's all splayed like you want it to be. Second verse, same as the first. So we've got all of our eyelets in place. Then the next thing I want to do is put the trim on that I have, and that is this cute little pom-pom trim. Stampin' Up! Sold this. If you like it, you can, I'm sure, find it on eBay. You can always find Stampin' Up! Things on eBay, even after they're retired, which is nice because I always seem to find things I really like after they stop making them. So I'm just going to use my tear tape and go right around the neckline. Even though this is for a little boy, I figured it would be fun to have a little bit of bling around the neck of it. You know what I'm saying? Why can't it? I'm sure they make things for little boys that have a little bling, don't they? Well, if they don't, maybe they should. Maybe little boys like pom-poms. I don't know. This little boy's going to have his shower gift with pom-poms on it. Okay. After you do that, you just want to really rub it all the way around to make sure that it's well adhered. Do the same thing on the back. When I make bags, I don't like to just have the front decorated. I do the front and the back. Let me tell you, it would have saved me a ton of time if I had just done the front of this bag, because this decorating, it took me hours, probably, I don't know, 3 hours. There's a front and a back to this trim. Can you see that? It has like maybe a 1/16 of an inch of the yellow. And then on this side, it's not that much. It's like half as much. So the side that has a lot more of that kind of braided look, that's the side that is what you'd put on the bottom. Oh, come on. Tell me that's not cute. Back to, I know it's for a boy, but it's cute. Now, this is the moment of truth when we try to make this work. Try to put it together. It doesn't matter, front and back doesn't matter in my case, because neither side is different than the other, so they can, you can just go with whichever. I'm going to attach my little tabs. Remember these are the things that are going to connect the sides to the bottom. I'm going to get this out of the way so you can see this part better, hopefully. Okay. You want to line up there's your fold. You want your fold. Oh, I got some tear tape hanging over the edge. I don't want that. Then your gifts will stick to that tear tape that's hanging out on the bottom of your bag. You want to line up the center line with this end. I laid mine a little wonky, so I'm going to have to cut off. I have a little bit too much on this end. That end was perfect. I don't know what I did wrong on this end, but I'm going to have to snip a little bit of that off because I won't be able to get my paper to fold. So hopefully you can see that the end is flat. It's 90-degree angle. You want that on both ends. And this is why it's so important that these have really good folds, because when you attach everything together, you need to make sure that those stay straight up and down. Same with these. They must stay straight up and down when you attach the bag to it, because otherwise you're going to have a little bit of a problem getting the bag to put the bag together. I'm all excited about this bag. I really hope it works. Would I do this again? Well, I probably would with pattern paper and not do the making my own. But for some reason, I couldn't find any of my own pattern paper that I thought was right for a baby shower. I don't know how that's possible, because you know I have 1,000,000 pounds of pattern paper. Okay. You want to, before you attach anything else, you want to make sure that you really adhere these little tabs you made. Not to the table, because that was a mistake. But you want to make sure those are really well adhered. I think I want to do my, I don't know, should I do the bottoms first? I think I better do the sides of the bag first before I attach the bottom. I'm going to move the bottom aside, because you know I'm going to end up having it attached to me if I don't. Okay, so this is the side of one side of the bag. Again, you want to make sure these flaps are really well adhered. Not well adhered, are really folded, so that you don't have them so that they are straight up and down when you attach them to the bag. So what I want to do is add some wet glue, just enough that if I have a problem, clearly I didn't want it there, that I can take it back off if I have to. I'm going to attach the bottom on one side at the same time, because if I do this, then I'll know exactly where my side needs to stop. If you recall, the bottom of my bag is going to be not exactly at the bottom. It's going to be at the bottom of the, before it gets to the leg holes. This is my bottom. I'm going to lay this bottom, hopefully. I want it to be straight if I can make sure it is. Then I'm going to put some wet glue on that little flap that we created at the bottom. Okay. We're hoping this is going to work right. Crossing our fingers. Then we're going to, I'm going to fold in that little flap. I'll show you this in just a second. I just need to line it up. The one thing you have to remember with this bag is that you can't sit it straight up and down, because your bag is not flush with the bottom. You know, see this part? That's always going to be kind of in the way. That's because I wanted to maintain the shape, but I wasn't sure if it would work or not. So I'm still not sure if it's going to work or not, but we're gonna give this a whirl. Oh, I needed to cut these at a little angle. and I forgot. So don't you forget to do it. You don't want to have that. You need to make sure that you don't have that extra bulk in there. All right. Now I need to rub everything to make sure everything's laying where I want it to be laying. So I made the lining for the bag because if this had been double-sided paper, I probably wouldn't have had to do this. But because you're going to see through the top part of the bag and the bottom part of the bag, I figured I probably should line it. So, and it will make the bag stronger, so that's a good thing too. So I will explain how to do this, how to make your lining in a second. What I did first, well, let me just say this. You should probably make sure that you do your lining before you put it together. And I really thought my holes were in the right place, but clearly they're not. Why aren't they? I don't know. So my holes now are lined up. I'm just going to push this down in, and we'll fix the holes in a second. Now, when you flip it back over, if you can see any of the white, and clearly you can, what I want to do is just take my scissors and trim off any of the excess white that's showing. Well, let me trim all this out, fix my boo-boo, and I'll be right back. So when I lined up everything, clearly I had a problem with my hole. So here's how I fixed it. I punched out a circle that's an inch circle. So then after you've got your hole cleaned out, you're going to take this circle and you're just going to line it up right over that. Is this perfect? No. But again, if somebody's going to look at the back of your bag and go, like, what's the deal with that? Then they're looking too hard at your bag, right? Clearly. So let me show you how you make the backing for your paper. The reason since I already put half my bag together, I had to kind of fake this part. But let me show you how to do it from scratch. Here is your front or back of your bag. What you want to do is you want to take a white piece of cardstock and you just want to trace it to this exact piece. And then what I did is, after I did that, I clipped it on to make sure everything looked right and was lined up and that I didn't have any paper sticking out. And in my case, I've got a little bit here that needs to be trimmed off, if you can see that. You just want to make sure that if you have any, now's the time, this is the easiest time to fix anything like that. Again, you just don't want to see any of the white if you can avoid it. And you don't want it to go all the way to the bottom because this part is, as you know, is not, well, you could have it go all the way to the bottom, but that part is going to be sticking out past your bag and it could make it a little bit complicated to attach everything. So I already put tear tape on the other side of this so that all we have to do is remove it. But before I do that, I'm going to show you, forgot already to do this, I want to show you how to poke your holes. The easiest way to do this is to take a pokey tool and poke through your little holes that you already have on your front, like that. Then take this off. And we want to use our punch, and we're just going to punch through those holes. And you want to make sure, you're going to try to make sure that you centered when you punch, or when you did that little hole with your pokey tool. You want to make sure you get that as close to the center of this hole as you can. So when you poke this down through, poke it into the center so that when you make these holes, you're going to remember that your hole, that little mark is in the middle. Does that make sense? I think it does, but if it doesn't, I apologize. I'm trying to make it make sense. Okay, and as per usual, we want to add wet glue. Let's cross our fingers that this is going to line up better than the last one did. The holes aren't exactly perfect, but they're not horrible. They're doable. We can live with them. But I do notice that when I'm putting this together that it's now off on an angle a little bit. I'll show you that. Upside down or right side up. See, once I put it together, can you see there's white on this side? We gotta trim it again. As I said, you don't have to do a layer of backing if you use double-sided paper and if you don't use alcohol markers on it. But because I used alcohol markers, they go through, they bleed through, and so you have unattractive backing. Let's get this put together and then I'll show you what we got baby Finn for his shower presents. They live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and as you know, I live in Northwest Pennsylvania, so there's a little bit of a space difference for us to be able to see each other, and that's disheartening. So we won't be able to go to the shower, but we've already planned on taking a week this summer where we're going to drive down and spend the week with them, and well, not with them, we're going to we'll be in a hotel, but we'll be able to spend time with them and with the baby, and we're really excited about that. Here's our gift bag. Let me show you what I'm going to put in it. I already sent them, from Rich and I, a stroller and a rug that they wanted for in the baby room. It was like the stars and the planets. It's there. His room is going to be kind of galaxy inspired. So anyway, that's what we sent them. But I wanted to make sure that at their shower, they had gifts from us. And so I wanted to show you what I got them. So let me first show you, she had a book on her registry on Amazon that she really liked. It was this one, I Love You to the Moon and Back. And I thought that was really a great start. I'm not going to put anything in this yet. So I got her that. Then I was looking at the books that were on the top 100 books of 2021. No, yeah, 2021. And this was on it. It was like number 4. And I figured, well, if it made it to number 4, it must be a good book. And I read it. It's really sweet. And then there's this book. This is the book that is really for my sister. And that's because when my sister and I were very young, we would wait for my dad to get home from work. And every night when he would come home from work, we would hand him this book and say, "Read me, Daddy." So I wrote up a little story about that. And I know we have a photo of my dad reading to my sister and I. And I'm going to put that in the book as well, because I think that's a great way for this little boy to know, to be able to connect with his grandma and his great-grandpa, because that was who read it to him. So I'm hoping that my brother-in-law has the photo, and I'm hoping that he finds it, because they just all moved into a new house. So I hope he finds it. So anyway, that book. Then I saw these swaddle me's, and there's a bunch of swaddles out there that are supposed to be the greatest things ever, and this one in particular is supposed to work like a champ, that kids can't get out of. If any of you know better, let me know if I got the wrong thing, but I'd heard that this is a really good brand and that's what I should get. When I was in my teens, my grandmother made each of her grandkids a quilt that we could then pass on to our kids. And because I never had children, my quilt never got used, and I've always kept it in a safe place. And I'll just kind of open parts of it. Grandma used a coloring book of animals, and for some reason she asked me which animal I really liked, and I wanted that turkey more than anything. So that's the center of mine. There's dogs, there's a pig, the back of a kitten, a skunk, hold on, I'll open it for you more, a skunk, a full cat, another dog, I don't know if you saw that dog, an elephant, a frog, a horse, a deer, a squirrel, and a lamb. Hopefully you saw most of those. Anyway, my sister gave her quilt to her second son, who was the first one to have children. And I know my sister thought I would give mine to Mike because I never had kids. And of course, I saved it for Mike. And I'm so excited to be able to pass that on because this is basically a 50-year-old, maybe not quite that old, 50-year-old gift from my grandmother to them. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm hoping that she really likes the things that I've got and the gift bag. Of course, I'm going to be making a card for her, which, you know, that's a whole nother video. I do hope that you enjoyed this and that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.